Good morning and welcome to Imagine Your Life with Jenny Lynn McKinnon. Here we are today, and the episode is going to be about EFT. So, we are going to imagine your life using EFT, which is Emotional Freedom Technique. Now, EFT, some of you may be familiar with it. It is a tapping and release therapy, is what it's also been nicknamed as. And I'm tapping because that's what we're going to be doing today is tapping. And we're tapping on acupuncture sites. And as the theory goes, and it's not theory anymore, it is now scientifically been proven, and it's in the medical journals as such, and in psychology. And when you look online behind the science between EFT for anxiety, stress, health problems, improve your eyesight. It brings down anxiety. It's things that we were doing naturally, but there's now been science behind it, and now we know why. So, what is EFT? Like I said, it's been tagged emotional freedom therapy. Where did it come from? Well, so we have meridians in our bodies, which is like the energy pathways. Now I'm talking about Chinese medicine and acupuncture and these things that have been mapped out for our nervous system. And with acupuncture, they know that if you tap, if they stick a needle in your ear, it's going to help with the pain in your knee. I mean, I'm not as skilled at acupuncture at all, but I have used it for myself for pain and anxieties. And I know that it's used for so many, many things. And EFT uses the science and the same pathways as acupuncture. It's just something you can do by yourself without needles. So, the beginning, where EFT came from. So there was a gentleman named Robert Callahan. So he was a PhD with psychology, and he had a patient come in. As history goes, her name was Mary, and this was in about the 1960s, 70s. And so Mary comes into his office, and she has been having panic attacks, severe anxieties, very stressed, right? And she's in his office. He's got her laying on his couch trying to do his psychotherapy. And she goes into a panic attack, and he doesn't recognize it as a panic attack because he thinks she's having a heart attack. And she starts just panicking, and her heart is hurting. She's having a severe anxiety attack, and she thinks she is having a heart attack, and panics, calls 911. And while he's waiting for the ambulance crew to arrive to help this woman, thinking she's having a heart attack, instinctively he just needs to do something, and he just takes her hand and he just starts tapping, and he starts tapping on her heart because she's having a heart attack, and he just starts tapping. Well, by the time the paramedics arrived, this woman was calm, her heart was normal, and paramedics checked her blood pressure, vital signs, said she's good, everything's fine. And they left. And the doctor and Mary sat back wondering, what just happened? Well, that spurred a whole thought process of why, what happened? What did I do? And Robert Callahan, he was familiar with acupuncture. And so he began a study, he and some other colleagues began to study this process. And then they tagged it thought field therapy. And they created their own little technique of tapping and release. Well, then Gary Craig came along, and in the 90s. And he said, I want to know more about that. And he became an expert and he renamed it Emotional Freedom Technique. There's there's multiple books, and if you Google Emotional Freedom Technique, EFT, tapping and release therapy, there's thousands of videos on YouTube that people have done specifically. And now this gets to be one more to add to all the information that is out there, and I will add my own personal experiences with EFT. So I'm going to explain how it works. I was first taught the traditional method, the Gary Craig method for the EFT, for the tapping. And there is a phrase that works best that I use almost universally that does come from Gary Craig. And it is, even though I have this problem, I still love and accept myself. And even this problem, I don't have to have this problem. Even this problem, I can let go of this problem. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. I love you. Thank you. Now, the opening statement of, even though I have this problem, because you have to identify the problem. So let's say the problem is anxiety, and most people join, like everybody has some form of anxiety. Anxiety is a normal emotion. It's there in our bodies to move us forward into action and doing something about the anxiety to calm us down, right? We call it that gut feeling, that gut intuition, that gut anxiety. Well, even though I have this anxiety, I still love and accept myself. We have to acknowledge the problem because what we resist persists. So if you try to ignore the anxiety, what happens to your anxiety? It only goes up. But when you acknowledge it, that, yes, I'm feeling anxiety. So this is how we acknowledge it. Even though I'm having this problem with anxiety, I still love and accept myself. And then I begin tapping. So I begin right here, and then the fingers. This is how I learned it traditionally. These are acupuncture sites. The thumb, fingers, outside of the fingers. This is my favorite spot right here. And then you come to the top of the head, forehead, here, down the jaw, right here, above and below the lips, on your collarbones, down the side, back to the hand. And then we check in on that level of anxiety. So my anxiety when we started was really high. Let's say today it was at a 7. Well, how am I feeling right now about that anxiety? One round of tapping, I'm feeling much better. So now it's down to about 3. And then we keep tapping until we get that down to a 1 or a 0, where it's very manageable for you. That is the system of tapping. And when I first learned this in about 95, I was a mess. I was a mess emotionally, mentally. I wasn't so much physically at that time. I was very healthy with my body, but I was a mess inside. I was suicidal and having thoughts of suicide. I was a mother of 2 young children and probably pregnant with my third, I'm sure. And my emotions were just, there was so much. It was like this this boiling pot of 23 years just finally came, and the lid came off and it just spewed out and boiled over, and a lot of people got burned, including myself. Actually, I was starting to feel a lot better, but I was a mess because people around me were getting hurt as I disclosed 20 years of abuse and of sexual abuse, that finally I could came to an awareness, because you have to acknowledge what is within you before you can do anything about it. And the tapping, when I was introduced to this program of EFT, was a main catalyst in my healing. And so I went from being a emotional mess and a basket case, and I was trying psychotherapy, traditional psychotherapy, sit down talk therapy. And let me tell you what that did for me. It brought more confusion, it brought more anger and more anxiety, and it did not move me forward. In fact, it kept me stuck in this cycle of needing a therapist, needing to be codependent then with a therapist. It was not a good thing, or it probably was. Okay, my disclaimer, because I work with some amazing psychologists and psychotherapists. What they do is very, very good and extremely helpful. And I was young, and if I had a different therapist, if I had gone shopping, if I had really put more into that, I I could have had better results. So I have to say that before I throw them under the bus, because many of them are my colleagues and friends. And I love what you do, and it is very, very helpful. And they even use these tips and tools now with EFT and other things. Wasn't so common in the 1990s. Psychotherapy was sit down in an office and you just talk it through. There wasn't EMDR, there wasn't these other things for panic and PTSD. So they have more skills now than we did in 1990. But for me, I was caught in this cycle, and I did not find talk therapy very effective. I wasn't getting out of my body, and it kept me stuck in my head, and it kept me, what I felt like is I stuck as a victim. And if you're watching on the camera, I apologize for the my hair. Maybe if I just pull my hair back. That made a difference. Thank you. Wow, that decreased my anxiety. Now, there you go. There. So, my own personal story. I spent the second 20 years of my life overcoming the first 20 years. And in the last 15 years, because I'm now 54, 55, turning 55 soon, I have moved into thriving. And this EFT, tapping and release therapy, was major, major in my life. So I was introduced to a man named RN-CHT, and you can check him out. He has a fabulous YouTube videos, and he's become really a master in moving the Gary Craig's formulas and his techniques even forward and advancing it even more. But that is who helped me in the beginning in 1990. And I spent hours with him working through tapping, using this formula of tapping, and we would tap in a cycle. Now, this tapping in a format does help. And using the tapping, it put me in the driver's seat of being my own best therapist, because then I could acknowledge my own anxieties. I could acknowledge the feelings within. I could begin to acknowledge in a safe way my accountability in the whole process, because I was not, it wasn't all someone else. like I was accountable for my stuff. What was I accountable for? I got to take that on, and doing EFT became a very safe way to work through those emotions. And if you have an EFT practitioner that can help you, that's amazing. I'm actually very skilled in it and certified in it. You can look me up, or you can look up Art and Compton, or you can find somebody on YouTube, or you can just watch videos and self-teach. There's no side effects with this, guys, except that you feel better. That's the only side effect. Can't do it wrong. And that's what I've learned, because I learned EFT for myself, right? Using it myself. And then when I went through my hypnotherapy training in 2012, I learned EFT, that the tapping, it's a hypnotic technique, and that's why it works. It works because it creates a division between the conscious mind and your subconscious mind. And in that division, it opens up the subconscious, because your conscious brain is wondering, what is this that you're tapping? What is going on? And it all gets focused on right here on the physical. Well, the mental, and the emotional side and the subconscious mind becomes wide open to change. That's why it works. So you can reframe very, very quickly an emotion, a thought, a feeling, and it works. So for myself, now I don't care where you're tapping. You can tap on the desk. You can tap on your forehead if you have a headache. Tap on your temples. If you have cancer, and then tap on that area of cancer and begin to ease the symptoms and to reframe. Because when you remove the emotional component of disease, then that opens up the body to healing. And I tell you, I've seen and experienced miracles, not just with EFT, with hypnotherapy, combination, body, mind, physical, spiritual, miracles. It's true. And we have so many modalities around us that we can use that are amazing. And EFT is just one of them, but it puts you in the driver's seat of your own health. That's what I love about EFT and emotional feeling therapy. If you have PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder, start tapping when you get a trigger, and instead of going, oh my gosh, that's the trigger. I see that, and you go into panic mode. You have 17 seconds to divert that panic before your subconscious brain just throws you under the bus. Well, start tapping, retrain. This is how you rewire your brain. Start tapping. Tap wherever you're feeling anxiety. My favorite thing to do is cross the hands, so you get your left brain and your right brain working together, and start tapping just right on your collarbones. When you do that, this is a main cross point for your whole nervous system, right? And there's so much that you can get right here. And do you ever intuitively just, oh my gosh, when you're anxious, you're tapping your foot? Some people just do it all the time. Tap their foot, tap your knee, your fingers, your hands, just start tapping. And do you ever just go like, oh my gosh. When you do this, even that movement, you're activating and creating a change in your physiology, which that is a very natural, intuitive. I see my 3-year-old do that when she gets frustrated. Oh. And tapping, it works. It has been amazing. So this is my favorite. Just cross your hands, just start tapping. And no matter where you're at, if you're driving, tap on the steering wheel. You're feeling road rage, start tapping on that steering wheel and start reframing the emotions within. Even though I'm feeling this way, I still love and accept myself. And even this problem, I don't have to have this problem. Even this problem, I can give. You have to give it to somewhere, something. I can give it to the steering wheel. I can give it to my higher power. That's my favorite. My favorite is even though I have this problem. And once you've identified the problem, then I just call it the problem. Sometimes if I can't specifically identify the problem why I'm feeling anxious, then I just, even though I have this feeling of anxiety, even though I have this problem, even this problem, my subconscious knows exactly what the problem is, and I don't need to identify it. So even though I have this problem, I still love and accept myself. When my hands get tired, then I intuitively do this. I'm shifting, I'm moving emotion through my body because you don't want it to be stuck and trapped in your body and your muscles. That's the whole problem why you're having anxiety. So even though I have these feelings of anxiety, I still love and accept myself. And even this problem I can give to my Savior, Jesus Christ. I can give to my higher power. Whatever your belief system is, we're not here to talk about belief systems. But I will tell you, you have to believe in something. And even an atheist believes in something. Connect to your higher power. I like to visualize light, giving it to the light. And even this problem, I don't have to have this problem. I can give this problem to the universe. I can give this problem to the creator, to my creator. I can give it to my higher power. I give it away. I forgive. To Forgiveness is an interesting word because it actually means to give it away, push it forward, forgive. I forgive this to the light. I forgive this to my creator. I forgive this to my higher power. I forgive this to my Savior, Jesus Christ, because Christ has already suffered for it. He already took care of it. And even this problem, I don't have to have this problem. I can forgive it. I can let it go. Because the truth is, I don't have to have this problem. Even this problem, I can let it go and keep the learning and let it go. And even this problem, I don't have to have this problem because the truth is, and then so I tap out the negative. And then where it gets fun is when we tap in the positive. And now we're starting new connections in the brain, and we're starting new pathways and a new train of thought. So the truth is, even though I have this problem, I can give it away because the truth is I don't have to have this problem. And the truth is, it's all for my learning and growth. I am learning, I am growing, I am taking the lesson, and I am enough. The truth is that I am enough. And even this problem, I don't have to have this problem. And I let it go. I choose to let it go because the truth is, I am loved. And I love and accept myself. When we love and accept ourselves, then we can take on our own, we can get through anything. We become our own best friend. But when we don't love ourselves, and many times that's where we have to start, is even though I do not love and accept myself, I want to love and accept myself because it's just me in this body. And I want to love and accept myself. And even though I have this problem loving and accepting myself, I want to love and accept myself. And even this problem, I don't have to have this problem. And even this problem, I can forgive it to my higher power. I can forgive it to the creator of this problem. I can forgive this to my higher power. I can forgive it to the light. Because the truth is, I am enough. I am enough. I was born enough, and I was born to learn and to grow, and I am learning and I am growing. And the truth is, I can love and accept myself. I do. I can love and accept myself. And as I love and accept myself, I can love and accept others. Now we're coming to the end of the show. And I'm very, very excited for those of you that we're going to have a great discussion after this as we discuss together and learn more. And I get to hear what techniques you've added into this program, because I know that CFT is not new and many of you on the show have used it before. So we're going to open up the discussion in a moment. But I want to end this show the way I end every show, which is every day, in every way, I get better and better. And when I tap this in, that saying, oh my goodness, it changed my life. I've been doing this for a long time. And that's where I started. During that time in the 90s when I was such a mess, the EFT was huge. That's what did it for me. But it was tapping in the positive, clean up the negative, tap in the positive, the truth that I am enough. Oh, I am loved. I am loved and I'm worthy. And all the garbage I went through has been and is for my highest and greatest learning and growth. And the lesson is repeated until the lesson is learned. And I have learned my lesson well. The goal is not, everybody has problems, everybody has stuff, everybody has, life is messy. It gets messed up. We get hurt, we hurt others. Life is messy. But we get to move through it. And the goal is not to stay in the mess. The goal is to take your mess and turn it into your message so that you can lift and inspire others. That's the goal. And you can do that. And EFT is a very powerful tool in moving you forward, in turning your mess into your message, acknowledging the problem, forgiving the problem, gathering the learning, reframing in the positive, and then manifesting the life that you do want. And part of manifesting the life that you do want and getting your subconscious to work for you is every day in every way, I get better and better. My favorite saying to tap in, repeated 10 times as your fingers touch the pillow and you prepare for sleep. In this manner, you create your subconscious mind working for you instead of against you while you sleep. Because you have the very same, say you have a bad day and you go to bed and you're thinking about that really bad day. Well, it gets filed into a file called How to Have a Bad Day. And now the next day you are bound to repeat that very same bad day. We'll compound that over time, and that equals many bad days, years, months, and an awful life. But just by saying, very same bad day, you go to bed every day in every way, I get better and better, repeated 10 times as your fingers touch the mattress and you prepare for sleep. Now you have reprogrammed your brain and you've given your brain a problem to solve, which is what brains like to do, is solve problems. So now while you sleep, your brain is working to figure out, oh, how can I be better tomorrow than today? And when you compound that over time, that equals many good days, many good weeks, months, years, and 20 years from now, you're going to wake up and go, wow, wow, I have an amazing life. How did I get here? And it starts with one day at a time, every day, in every way, you get better and better. I'm glad you enjoyed this show, and I look forward to our discussion. And feel free to reach out to me